Okay. We're on. I think we're on. Alright. Alright, we should be good here. We should be good, everybody. A nice, simple swap over. No issues whatsoever. We can hear. Awesome. Thank you. Alright. Yeah. We're all in place here. Let me get the closed captioning open. I always forget that. It's like the one thing that I always forget to do. There it is. Alright. We're good. We're good. So, yeah. Now we're here. This is where we're going to spend the rest of the day. I'm going to be kind of chatting about my experience as an It Gets Better ambassador, because I've been one of the longest standing people who has been streaming on this channel. I've been here since the channel started. And you know what's wild? This channel is up to over 4,000 follows already. Honestly, it just shows how much we've been able to grow this and the small amount of time that we've been doing it. And it's been very nice. So, yeah. Today is just going to be me chatting about my experiences, because I think this is actually also the last session that I have under my current contract. So, I always like to do these reminiscing times because I'm a sentimental girl. So, I always just feel that need to reminisce and explore. I was going to get another creator to come on this time. Unfortunately, our schedules didn't work, and I already rescheduled once. So I didn't want to reschedule it again. But that is totally fine. God, I hope Honkai shows up in I just thought about it. I hope Honkai shows up in my game capture. We're going to have to see and hope for the best. But I'm going to go get Honkai open right now. Double check, make sure that the game shows up here. Fingers crossed I can get it open first try. You know, it's looking like that might be a no on that, which means I might go display capture for this, which is fine. Yeah. Alright, we're just gonna have to display capture it. Hi, Beta, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Alright, let me get it open here. It's gonna be, if it's the screen. If it's the screen, okay. It's a little cropped off, which you can see, but unfortunately I couldn't fit it to screen very well otherwise. So, because if I do it like that, like you see, like it's kind of there. So that's probably the best that we're gonna get with it here. So it's gonna be a little cut off on the right side, but it should be fine. It should be fine here. So yes, I have been a big Honkai fan right now. As we can see, I'm getting close to level 40. I'll have my, like, dailies and stuff like that to be able to do. Claim all my assignments as well, which are the character materials. If you don't know Honkai, Honkai is the new game made by the same people I made Genshin. So it's been, like, my big obsession over, like, the past weeks to just play it and enjoy it very much. Right now, I'm just clearing all of my notifications because, hey, I am somebody who, you know, types a lot. Or, not types a lot, but... Well, I'm gonna be honest, I lost what I was trying to say there. So, yeah. I feel like I wanted to chat because I've been doing this for a while, and I've had a lot of experiences where working with It Gets Better right now. Where, you know, I started working with them back at the end of 2021. And over that time, I've been able to see this channel really grow. I've done quite a few events outside of my ambassador stream. I try to be involved. Because, again, I've really developed this passion for representing my community and trying to have our community be this, I guess, place where I can have that sense of pride and make sure that I'll, you know, keep making sure that I do everything that I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to grow as not only like a woman, a trans woman doing everything here, but I've also found myself wanting to continue being more of this advocate, wanting to do more than just being a queer creator. And so for me, a big part of that has been representing the community more and having these conversations and being able to, you know, use my voice in a way that I feel like allows me to help push and create more understanding toward, you know, the trials and tribulations. I know it's such a, like, a weird thing to say, but it really is these days. You know, it hasn't been the easiest road for us to go down right now. And so if there's a way to have it so that, you know, we can have maybe just a little bit of an easier time, then, you know, that's what we're gonna have to do. And if it means I do a little bit of educating here, then that's just an added bonus on things. Also, what I'm going to be doing right now in game chat is I am going to be doing some battles in here, pretty much just to get my character level up and then get materials to level the individual characters that I play also. And yes, I play this in Japanese, so forgive me. I know it might not... Most of the time, if there's anything important to read, I will gladly read it for you. But that, like, initial message was just the... was just, like, the dailies. Where they're just, like... The dailies are... fluff that allows you to get more into the characters. Also, this game does have quite a few queer characters. So, I'm just saying. I mean, look at this girl here. Tell me she doesn't just scream my kind of personality. I love March. She's a cutie. All the queer characters, exactly. You got Branya and Sile being, like, canonically a couple. Which is super adorable and makes me happy. Also, speaking of, I'm going to do a couple of these battles for her. I'm lacking in knowing how to use someone like Branya. She's really good at enabling stronger characters. But I feel like I don't utilize her properly yet. We'll have to see if I can get better at it over time. But yeah, going back to, like, the conversation, you know, I've done a lot of cool things here that I wear with a badge of honor. Like, I got to host multiple events with American Eagle. I've hosted conversations with Riot Games. I've, you know, been a part of multiple other things for Trans Day of Visibility, and it's really nice knowing that to me, this is more than just I stream on It Gets Better once a month, you know? For me, this is like, you know, I don't want to say like my passion project, but in a way, I want to see this, you know, flourish and foster, that I want to continue to be a part of it. And I think that that is such a great feeling to have for me, because the reality is, for a lot of content creators, sometimes we deal with like burnout or lack of drive. I know everybody in my community can understand that, especially when it comes to my personal channel and the feelings that I have been having lately toward exactly that. I've definitely been struggling more with the, not burnout as much as the creative outlet, but I also think that because I come in here with the idea that I want to have a conversation, and I plan out my conversation, I really should take my own advice or take my own experiences with It Gets Better and translate them into my own personal stream, because I really don't plan a lot of my conversations. I let whatever go, and like how it flows. But I guess it's easier when you plan like a once-a-month stream. But I definitely have put myself into these situations where I feel like I do a lot of prep for the It Gets Better streams, so that I don't want to feel like I'm wasting my time here. And I know you could be like, oh, you're not wasting our time on, oh, does that mean you feel like you're wasting it on your own personal end? No. But sometimes I guess I'm more lost in what I'm trying to say or do, which ends up leading to this lack of my own like stable conversation. Like, you look right now and the chat is, you know, everybody's lurking. Sometimes I would get really self-conscious on my own stream because of that aspect. Whereas over here, because I know what I want to talk about, I have more of this general understanding for myself of, this is the plan, this is what I want to do, and if you jump into the conversation, please. I would love that, because I love having these conversations and being able to interact with you all, but I also know that I have a focus. I have a, you know, something in mind that I want to accomplish. Do this one more time. And I think that is something to like learn from, and I wouldn't have had that if I wasn't working with It Gets Better. Because I would probably, you know, being in the content creation sphere puts you into a situation where sometimes you get left behind if you don't evolve yourself. I mean, the same goes for life in general. But I have been struggling with that, you know, figuring out how to not get left behind. And I feel like I learn more about myself just being here and chatting about these things. You know, I've talked about how sometimes I'm like, I wonder if I would want to, like, find a job and actually just, like, stay here and work here. Obviously, that's not something that's in my control, but the fact that I feel that way, it really does just, like, show the level of passion that I have with working at this and how much fulfillment I get here. And it's really nice just to have that experience. I love knowing that this is, in a way, like a home away from home, you know? Because it is my own thing that I have been able to see grow and work with, and it's nice. It's just, I think that's the best way to put it. It's a good feeling seeing a passion project try to develop itself a little bit more, and you yourself being a part of that growth. It's one thing to have like a passion project and not be able to see it through for whatever reason. Sometimes it's out of our control, but it really is something that I try to really like hammer away at as this thing that I want people to really enjoy. I mean, Zaz, you can vouch for this if you feel like jumping in, because how many times do I come on here and I try to be like, please, go watch the other creators on here, because there are so many other good ones. I'm just not in it here to be here for me and, you know, go about my day and then come back next month. You can really hear that I want to have people know the experience and understand why someone like me would spend a year and a half working at this charity and doing all the things that I have. Alright, I need one more battle with these. I also keep trying to check what my experience is because I don't want to overuse everything, because I'm almost to 40 and I'm going to use these items that give extra. One thing I've wanted to learn in this game more is how to better utilize the relics. I struggle with maximizing that. I need to really like sit down, because the relics can give like a lot of growth in terms of like your character. You always encourage the viewers to watch other channels. Just the channel's such a good platform, plus there's so many different stories. Exactly. Like the other day, a friend of mine, Daydreamer Dan, it was his stream, and not only does he have his experiences, but he also has it of his experiences being queer and being, you know, someone who is Asian. And I for some reason that wording was just like awkward for me to say, and I don't know why. But, you know, for me, I have different experiences, and sometimes we need to see ourselves in these things for us to really like feel that sense of belonging, I guess is the best way to put it. And so, for sometimes I might not be the person that somebody needs to see. You know, sometimes Dan might not be the person that some people need to see. But having this variety, we're not all, you know, trans women here. You watch some cooking on here? Yeah! Dan does a lot of cooking. And I think it's really nice that he brings that. Because I don't know if we've had anybody else who does cooking. And it's really adorable, because not only is it cooking, but then he's also, you know, sharing his experiences for life and stuff like that. And again, like, it's a perfect example of why I think this place is so good, especially for us as creators that represent It Gets Better. A lot of us maybe don't talk about this stuff as much, whether it's because it's not something that comes to like our you know, it comes to mind initially, or it maybe isn't something that we plan to talk about unless it's like a conversation starter. There's definitely certain things that I know that I've only talked about on here that I don't think I've talked about on my personal channel. And I think that also just... And I know most of the people that watch me at this point are my own viewers. But if we can get to the point where I can share that experience with different people, I feel like I always meet 1 to 2 new individuals when I'm here. And so it's just nice to give that visibility, because I know that a lot of people need that. That was a big reason why I started to stream, was I felt like there wasn't that visibility, and I wanted to be able to provide that visibility for people who might need it. And I know that it is certainly not easy to, you know, be a visible trans woman at this point, but the self-fulfillment that I get here makes that feeling just so much better as a whole. You know, I don't want to make it sound like it's almost like this is my scoring brownie points, because that's not the point. I know there's probably somebody out there who could see it like that, where it's like, it's giving me that, like, you know, way to feel good. No, I feel good because I know that I'm representing something that I care about, and something that really is something that I want to represent. I like telling people whenever I am filling out a, you know, whether it's like my socials page or applying for a sponsorship or something like that, I always list like, hey, I'm a trans woman, I'm a ambassador for It Gets Better, and I have been for over 1.5 years. That's not to flex, that's because that's what I like people to know me for. Hi Sulky, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Sulky, have you tried adding me yet in this? I've gotten a couple of friend requests, but I didn't recognize the name, so I've been declining them. And I was thinking about it the other day, I was like, what if I just declined Sulky and didn't realize it? And that would be a little bit of an oopsie. Also, you know what I can actually do now that I thought about it? I can fit the game to screen better. Because I can just do this, and bam. Look at that. Now it works perfectly. I think if I had the ability to do, like, you know, take my phone into a different room, and I knew that I was going to be, like, free at some point, I think I would consider doing something along the lines. Gets Better Project last stream? Yeah, it's the last stream of the ambassadorship. It's, you know, and here I am. I've been chatting about how it's been this, you know, it's been absolutely incredible to say that I've been able to help grow this into the place that it has been. And I feel like I really have felt this almost like it's my project, you know? I feel like as much as it is obviously It Gets Better, being here since the start, I feel like a sense of watching your own child grow and being a part of the journey. It's that kind of feeling there. Yeah, I mean, it really has. I want to say we probably started to interact in, like, August of 2021. It's a very, very surreal time to have been doing this as much as I have been. Oh, I can make so many of these. I am not worried. Never mind. I was like, I don't have enough materials for this. But I do also want to get Natasha up, so we're going to do a couple more of these battles. Don't mind me. I'm just planning out how I'm going to use my experience here. Yeah, whenever the TWA came to be. Pretty much. And I mean, you were obviously streaming, and then you moved into this role and took like a step back from the content sphere. But I also feel like, though, with what you have to do, not only are you like still obviously staying on top of it, but you also are indirectly creating content. It's like the idea that you are like a showrunner. So you're still here creating it, even if you yourself aren't the focal point. You kind of have this still working in it. Too much to do. Yeah, I remember I took a year away from content creation back from 2018 to 2019. And during that time, I did not work because, or I did not do content because I had a part-time job. And just the part-time job, because of the schedule inconsistencies, was so hard for me to manage time. I think I streamed like once a month at most, but I couldn't get myself to do more because I wasn't able to establish any sort of consistency. And I like having that consistency. Anybody who like watches me knows that I am, while I can be a little chaotic here and there and like a little scatterbrained, I also have like a loose schedule whenever I plan out my day. And if that day changes just slightly, I start to be like, oh, what is happening for myself? So I never had a consistent schedule working retail. Some days I would work, you know, 4 to close. The others I would be 10 to 3. How do I manage a schedule like that unless I were to plan like, you know, a week schedule and just have various random times? It didn't, yeah, it definitely was rough. And for better or worse, it's why I haven't jumped into another job. Okay, good, I hit 40. Excellent. Did I go over it at all? Just barely, but it's fine. Alright. We got 40, that's what we were doing. Let's go here. Do our test, and then I can start leveling up people. Ooh, and I can do a poll. So 5-star relic I need. So I actually have some 5-star relics already. Because you can, I've beaten World 5. So if we actually look at my characters here. Relics. Yeah, I have 4 5-stars here and 5 here. So I definitely need to get more, but I also want to beat World 6. That's my biggest issue, is not being able to beat World 6 right now. Oh, I'm sorry that you have a bad headache right now, Caitlin. I hope you feel better soon. Hopefully it gets a little bit better on the head here. But yeah, I've been putting off that potentially getting a job. Obviously, part of it is because I don't want to get a job and then all of a sudden be like, hey, by the way, yeah, I got a job here. 6 months later, I'm getting surgery and I'm not going to be able to work for you for like 2 months. I just feel like that's, the timing doesn't make sense to look for a job. And it obviously makes it a little bit harder to rely on income and stuff and such, but oh, I went the wrong way here. But at the same time, I know that my focus is getting my surgery, which I don't know if I had an update the last time I was here, but at this point, my consultation is in January, with a higher chance of it being moved sooner. So there's a chance that my consultation could be before year end, which is amazing. And I really hope for that, because I wasn't gonna go to TwitchCon this year because I was like, oh, I want to make sure I have my surgery, my priorities and stuff like that. And I still have obviously those priorities, but I also, you know, I'm like, I don't want to feel like I end up not going and then find out my consultation isn't going to be for like another 4 months. Like, that would just be a feels bad a little bit. So we'll see. But that's my big thing. That's the other thing. With working for It Gets Better as long as I have, like, I technically started with It Gets Better before my name was even legally Chloe. Before top surgery, before, like, I've been able to have a lot of my life experiences happen while working here. Which is crazy to think about, because I just celebrated my 2 years of being partnered on Wednesday. And I was talking about, while I was on there, how I also have been creating content since 2017. Even if I took a bit of a hiatus, I was still doing it since 2017. Or, yeah, 2017. So, for me, it's this crazy feeling, because when I started in 2017, there was no voice training. There was no... I didn't even know what name I wanted. What name I wanted. I was so early on in my transition that, you know, I am such a different person. And we were doing a little reminiscing, and I showed people a clip of mine from like almost 7 years ago at this point. And you can really, even just like 2 years ago, you can see the growth that I've had. And I think, like, it's things like that that really make it feel like I can see the growth. Because I know a lot of people, myself included, when it comes to wanting to see personal growth, whether it's in your transition, in life in general, sometimes it's hard to see that happening. It's like when you were growing up and you are trying to maybe, you know, grow in height. It's hard for you to see that growth all on the surface, but when you look at pictures on like a year-to-year growth, then you can actually see it. It's that kind of similar aspect, I find. So I look, and I remember my therapist was very, like, similar with telling me this, where she was very adamant on me making sure that I frequently take pictures of myself, as an example, because when you're feeling dysphoric, you can have a harder time seeing the things that you want to see. But if you are at this point where you are looking at these photos, you can really start to see that growth more. feel like streamers are in a unique position to be recording your life. Yeah. Wasn't there like a movie, a famous movie of someone who was documenting their life. Oh, I can now synthesize relics? That's cool. Hold up. And it was like a boy's childhood. I think it might have been called Boyhood or something like that, where they document their growth over, you know, this long period of time. And it really is, like, surreal because we do document our life. You are able to see a lot of that internal growth that I have been able to have. Oh, so I need those materials here. So if I go back up here and I click on one of those, got it. So now I need to farm these materials from salvage. Oh, I have to salvage my relics. So I don't want to sell them. I need to make sure that I salvage them. Got it. I'm not going to touch any of those yet. But if that's how I have to farm them, that makes sense. Salvage 100 relics. I think if as long as you have the, like, experience materials, too, it's not bad. Because it looks like when you salvage, you're just getting, like, the light cone experience. Or not the light cone, the relic experience. But I could be wrong there. But yeah, you're exactly right. It is that very unique situation that I am given. Where I can say that there has been a documentation. It's exactly like, again, with It Gets Better, where I'm in this unique situation where I've been able to document that journey and that growth as an It Gets Better ambassador and creator, where I can see everything that's been happening, and it's just really, I guess, just, you know, this feeling of pride and joy. Alright, we're gonna let's get Seeley. Oh, Seeley's not even 60 yet. Ugh. That's fine, that's fine. So I got our main character up to 60, and I got Seeley up there. I need to start giving... Let's also ascend Natasha here. So our new goals are gonna be, I need to get more of those material items. Can I do any of my traces? I don't have a lot of these to do. Can I craft any? No. So I can only do one of these, so I need to get trace materials here. Got it. Can I do any of your relics? Definitely not. I gotta get more of these relic materials. And these as well. Alright. Let's do it. Let's start gathering up some of those materials here while we continue this conversation. I can't believe I've already hit 40 in this game. Oh, you know what I can do, though? Is I have a warp. One... Oh, I actually have 4 warps. Alright, we're doing 4 warps. Let's do it. Anything good? Nope. How many have I done now? I am 1 away from 100 warps, and I still haven't pulled a 5-star from the standard. There it is, number 100. I've been soaring through this. Yeah, Soren is definitely right. Last one? At least a 4? No, nothing there. My luck in the regular warp has been so rough. Look at this. I got Natasha recently. And then... Light Cone. Shushang, 4-star Light Cone. Another Asta, another March. A 4-star Light Cone. Kinke. And then, over 60 ago, 5-star Light Cone. Hi, Joy. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Yeah, my polls there have been rough. Let me actually see the achievements. Oh, yeah, it is literally 201 achievements. That is crazy. Yeah, most of these are, like... I have some categories done. Like, that one is done. I haven't touched this. What is... Starting to chat? Oh, just doing a lot of those. Okay, that'll take a while. Memories we share is done. 2 more of these readable items I need to be able to do. Which I guess I could hunt for at some point in my free time. Yeah. Really appreciate you share aspects of your transition experience. It helps you a lot. Joy, that is, like, literally what I'm saying with, like, why I love being here. Because I am happy that I can share these experiences. I love knowing that I, in my way, am able to help you and help others feel like they are able to see themselves. Again, especially in this industry that is so male-dominated, cis male-dominated as well. You know, it makes things hard for a lot of us to see ourselves, and it's why It Gets Better does a lot of really good and just overall feeling of accomplishment, because I can provide that feeling that some people might need to be able to see themselves. And I try very hard to be a rather transparent, no pun intended, woman. And so I appreciate that I can give my experiences for you all and be able to continue to impact other people who just might need it. Because that's, again, just kind of like what makes it all the more worth it for me. I'm trying to look for a matching set here with my relics, but I am struggling. It looks like I don't have many of those matching ones. I can do this one, which is good and all, but all it does is give me a lot of bonus attack. And, like, it's a lot of bonus attack. Like, I think my Shushang is... Let's see here. Characters... Shushang... 1,000 attack. Yeah, no. We're feeling it right now. I can also now enhance light cones. I just realized you're on the... Yeah, that's the 5-star light cone. If I want to ascend that, I need more of these materials. Yeah, I need a lot of those materials. We're gonna quickly, get those materials here. Ooh, I unlocked level 4 here. That's fun. So I have more likelihood of getting, like, this one then, I'm pretty sure is how that's gonna work. Joy, I hope you're doing well. So yeah, I think that being an ambassador here has almost opened me up to being this more outspoken individual that, like, I was outspoken when it comes to, you know, people being dinguses and trolls in my own personal stream. But now I'm outspoken on, like, Twitter and calling for more advocacy, things like that, that I wasn't doing in the past. It really shows that I've been able to grow a lot here. Knowing Genshin, you never know, but hopefully more likely to get the higher ones. I will take your word for it here, Zaz. Which means a lot of my dailies are now just going to be farming for materials so that I can get my characters' traces and their relics up. Because I won't have quests for a while. So it's literally just gonna be, how can I continue to get my character's experience in game? I have Shushang? Yes, I was able to pull a Shushang rather, I think it was like 40 standard pulls ago. I love her because her ultimate is just a giant chicken. She's also the last new character that I pulled. I say only, but I have 12 characters, which for a lot of free players, they have more than that. But the standard warps have just not been kind to me. But yeah, we love Shushang. How I beat World 5 of the Simulated Universe was I used Shushang Natasha, the main character, and Nanheng. You met her in game yesterday, also Luosha. Luosha is very good. I am looking forward to seeing... Luosha's gonna be in the next banner, and I am looking forward to that. Not only that, Zaz, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna be like the focus of the next banner. But I could be misspeaking here. A struggle between summoning him and Jinwang. At least you get a lot of free pulls in this game. Like, I pulled Seeley, and let me show you how many warps I have after this. Yeah. So, I think, I look back, I talk about this a lot, but when and I think it's even more apt as I am gonna be in a Twitch Rivals next Friday. But I definitely, when I run into events with bigger creators, oftentimes I met with a lot of like transphobia, and it sucks. However, I think the work that I have been able to do, not only like on myself, but just work through, it gets better. I feel like I'm more confident in myself as a trans creator to handle these situations and be able to make sure that I can handle with grace. I've gotten a lot of compliments in the past from event organizers when I deal with transphobia, and I think knowing that I have dealt with this and I can handle it, and I think it's also important for, even if they're not going to be the outspoken one themselves, I think just being able to, I said this earlier, see yourself in a person. And if you're somebody who wants to be in this industry, or you like watching YouTube or Twitch, etc., but like you don't see a lot of people like yourself, that's just more reason for me to push myself every day as much as I can, while the money obviously doesn't support it myself, but I can still give it a shot here. Zaz, my big problem is also gonna be that I want Kafka, so I want to make sure I can pull like one of Jinwang or Luosha, and then also have enough for Kafka when she comes out. So I have like the super struggle right now. Hit that, and then I think this was battle 6. Yeah, we're good. So let me see, what did that... Ooh, yes, we definitely get more materials to work with. So, yeah, if I go... First, I'll convert real quick. Boop. This is what I'm working with, Zaz. I have over 100 warps available, which means I have a guarantee. But obviously, that was through doing what the story had originally, so it is gonna slow down. Unless I, like, go achievement hunting. Let me go heal real quick. Awesome! Alright, we're gonna run it back here. But I want to use some of these. So we want to enhance this. Oh, I'm at the wrong one for this. I need to go to that one. That's the one we're working on here. Do 6 waves. Challenge it. Alright, how much is 6 waves going to give me here? Let's find out. Let's use the Himiko. And that. Alright, cool. I'm gonna let this auto battle and run to the bathroom real quick. So I will see you all in a second. When I get back, we'll continue this. Alright, we got here. Alright, we are good. You know, it's been... I feel like I would not have met as many people and developed these connections. Like, it gets bad again. I might not be in every stream. I might not be interacting with every ambassador, but I have been able to develop more of a connection with some of these creators and these other, you know, ambassadors for It Gets Better because of, you know, the connections that we already have. And I personally, I've talked about this on my own stream a lot recently, where I've been struggling with the feeling of I have people that understand my struggles, whatever those might be, whether it is, you know, content creation or, you know, being queer. I think that it might not seem like it, but it still gets to the point where it becomes hard for some of us to almost just like make more connections, because we're so focused a lot of the time on ourselves that unless we get invited to like groups like the Twitch, Sulky mentioned earlier, the Twitch Women's Alliance, that is like a great example of being able to, but you know, a group that allows us to interact with each other and build more of a connection with already similar livelihoods or experiences. And I feel like that is something that's very apt here, where, you know, I can think of 4 or 5 creators over the past, like, year and a half that I met through It Gets Better, that I am still in communications with. And a lot of that comes from the fact that I found, you know, maybe a sense of belonging or a sense of camaraderie between us. And who knows if that would have come as easily or at all if it wasn't for this. And that's just like another example for me as to what all of this has done. Lately, I've been feeling a lot of this feeling of not having people that I can talk to in the creator space that I can talk to more than like once a week kind of thing. And I know you don't need, a lot of people would want something just like that. But I think lately it's been obviously harder for a lot of us. And if I could have somebody who I could talk to more that also understands like the content creation side, I think it adds more than like reaching out to your best friend who might not be as involved with Twitch. But again, that's a more generalized thing. But again, because we're obviously all similar people here and it gets better, it obviously adds to that element of being able to already establish some sort of connection with somebody because of that. I only got one? Oh, that's not good at all. I really thought I would get more than that there. Yeah, trying to get the light cones to evolve is gonna be rough. I mean, we go here. I only have enough for 4 right now. Yeah. Ooh. I mean, like, I could go to the shop here. And if I go to my exchange, do I have... Yeah, I still have these. Honestly. I think I'm gonna get 4 here real quick. Just so that I can... Oh, wait, I just realized that was 4 I needed. I think 4 was not enough, right? Did I not get the right thing? Let me double check here. It was the wrong thing. It was the wrong thing. And I actually can't even get everything that I would want here by doing that. Oh, but I can also get the, now that I'm 40, I can unlock those. The Tracks of Destiny. Okay, that was nice. That's nice to have. But yeah, I still don't think I can. Okay, good. Now we have enough. Excellent. Let's ascend the light cone here. And this I can barely give experience on. Jeez. Yeah, let's just get that to 55 for now. That's fine. But at least it's a 5-star light cone that I can put a lot of time into. Next thing would be trying to enhance Natasha's. Even though it's a Bailu card. Alright. Here's what we're gonna do in-game here while we continue chatting. I want to try to do some, what they call the simulated universe, which will help me get more in-game items, and it's also like a fun little event because they're kind of like their own little mini roguelike experience. Recommended level 62. Jesus. To be fair, I guess this is recommended level 50, well, like 60. So that would make sense. 67. I don't think I'm gonna get very far in this. But we will certainly try. We will certainly try. Gotta give it a shot here, you know? Alright. Let's start off with... Let's go for the Curio here. Yeah, let's do that. I don't have anything to hurt you, so let's pop. Yeah. So, like I was saying, I swear, you can tell that my ADHD is like really bad today. Because I am, like, very distracted upon myself here. And so, it's one of those things where I have, like, the train of thought going, and then immediately I'm losing it. And I'm like, damn, I'm trying to have this conversation with you all, and then I'm also like, I don't want to just sit here and seem like I don't know what I'm saying. So I'm having this, like, internal battle with myself over that just forgetfulness, not ADHD here. We were even talking about this a little bit over my stream before, about, like, how ADHD just makes it really hard for me to, like, stay focused on certain things. And sometimes it's, like, a passion-related thing, but other times my mind is just filled with 10 different thoughts. I used to be really bad growing up with the ADHD when it came to, like, essay writing. Especially because my brain would go very fast. So I would struggle with the, like, having every word that I needed in my essay. Sometimes I would just have an entire sentence missing from the essay itself because my mind was going so fast that I didn't comprehend that I just forgot a word or a sentence. It's that, like, similar experience right now where I'm trying to follow my headspace, but I'm also like, where was I? That long-winded explanation there. But it's okay. I know a lot of you are obviously understanding, and there's no judgment for it. The storytelling part is good. The gaming is just the added bonus, but trying to manage it all, that's the real difficulty at times. Oh, I clicked the wrong button there. I meant to heal up. And leave ice. Alright, let's see how hard these boss battles are here. How hard will it be? Let's find out, shall we? Again, I know it's a very lurky day, so I'm not gonna fault anybody, but I'm always down to, you know, answer questions and talk, you know, that kind of stuff. Again, this is kind of not necessarily like an open forum, but I want to make sure people feel like they can ask any questions here, especially because the whole point of this is storytelling. So if anybody ever needs to, like, ask something, don't hesitate. I want to make sure that I give you the proper time that, you know, you might want as well. Because again, otherwise, you know, I won't say otherwise, actually. Otherwise, I am rambling, telling everything, which again is fine. That's the whole point of it. But I do want to make sure that it's not just podcasty. I like to. So what is right? So I feel like everybody handles their ADHD different, Granny. Also, welcome, and I hope you're doing well. But I feel like when it came to writing, for me, it was like this mix of, I had like ADHD, ADD, OCD. Like I was diagnosed a lot growing up. So for me, it could be the entire combination of it all together. I don't want to say that everybody could have that experience because I could be wrong on that assumption. However, I do know a lot of the similar symptoms of struggling to focus, trying to make sure that you can finish the sentence. It's really apparent with content creators, where a lot of us content creators will struggle to finish our thoughts. Like, for instance, let's say all of a sudden, I didn't mean to put that button down. Let's say all of a sudden there was a raid, and now there's 50 people to go greet. In a second, I could very well just forget everything that I was trying to say because something new just happened, like the losing the train. Yeah, exactly. My train of thought is so sporadic and so crazy. But as a content creator, it's a benefit at times because, you know, being able to do that means you can have a conversation constantly. But when you're trying to tell specific events, it becomes a detriment for me because I'm so quick to see something in game or want to explain something that I'm seeing. And I'll just kind of follow that there. So at times on like my own personal stream, I like will not acknowledge chat for a little bit because I'm like, I know I need to finish the story before I start to read everything. But I also feel bad about that because I like to make sure everybody feels like they're able to respond. So it's like this double-edged sword that I sort of put myself through. Your partner has ADHD, and he struggled hard with school. Took an extra year at university because he couldn't finish. Yeah, I struggled so much with getting essays done. I was the biggest procrastinator. And another thing about, like, my ADHD was growing up, like, for instance, my backpack. My backpack was a big, almost argument sake between my mom and I. Because my mom wanted my backpack to be more organized, and that way I don't lose, you know, my homework. Because I sometimes would. But I didn't put how I was an organized mess was the best way to describe it. I would not, you know, put homework or paperwork in a folder, but I would object pertinence, is that the word that I'm looking for? But I would object pertinence it, where I would put it at the front because I knew I would see it when it was in the front. Whereas if I put it in like a folder where it probably should have gone, I'm more likely not to think about that because it's not in front of me. You resonate so much with that? You just never kind of looked into it because your brother had ADHD and you weren't like him? So, I will say, I don't want to assume because you know, obviously that's wrong. But I do know that being born cis, as a cis male, you were more likely to get the ADHD diagnosis than if you were born, you know, if you were, sorry, not cis male, I meant to say, a fam. No, a mab, there we go, and then a fab, those are the words, I got there. If you're a mab, you had an easier time of getting ADHD diagnosis than if you were a fab. Because ADHD in somebody who is AFAB could be, oh, they're just shy, they're not much of a talker, and, you know, that was traditionally what people would see for someone who was identifying as a girl early on in life. And so getting that diagnosis for a lot of older AFAB people is something that they almost have like a goal for. Because it is hard to get that diagnosis for certain folks. And it's such a shame because it was this almost like stereotypical way of allowing that to, or like it was like a stereotypical reasoning, because it was ADHD and AFAB person. Oh, they're just shy. But if it's an assigned male at birth person, oh god, they're so hyperactive and disruptive. What's wrong with them? Can't they behave? They must have ADHD. At least that's how it was in the early 90s to 2000s. And that was like when the peak of diagnosing was happening. So I can only imagine how much harder it would have been growing up if you weren't living in that time frame. That's your era? Yeah. I was born in 96. So I got diagnosed when I was 4 years old. It's crazy that they were like that quick to be like, yep, my sister also got it, but it took longer, and my mom had to fight for it, being like, I see both of the problems in both of my children. But I, you know, being somebody who is a trans woman, I had the easier time getting the diagnosis growing up. And it really is a shame. It shouldn't be like that. I think it's gotten better, but I think a lot of people who diagnose ADHD are often, I think, a little bit more still on the old school lens of thinking, which ends up making it harder. I actually have a community member of mine who, I don't want to say their age, but they're older than me, and she is assigned female at birth. Just got her ADHD diagnosis for the first time. And it's something that she's been looking to have that understanding of yourself for so long. And I think, like, again, like that key word there of understanding yourself is another reason why having something like It Gets Better is so good. Because I know for me, I wouldn't necessarily know what being sapphic would be if it wasn't for streaming. And because of that, and because of like It Gets Better, I now feel like there's this more proper term that I relate to more than, you know, just saying I'm a lesbian. And that's something that is appreciated to have that aspect. Feels pretty maddening not to know why you don't. Yeah, 100%. I am, you know, I want to go get tested for autism. Because the more that I look into it, the more that I think maybe there's something there. The reason I'm not gonna do a test anytime soon, though, is because getting diagnosed autistic as a trans person almost makes getting your surgery that much harder. Because then they're like, oh, you know, thinking of all these other scenarios that it could be, and not like, and they'll use the autism as an excuse. So I want to understand if there's something there, but I don't want to jeopardize my transition. So instead I have to sit there wondering what if until I'm further along with everything. And it's such a shame that I even have to consider that in the first place. You might change your mind. Yep. I might change my mind after top surgery, bottom surgery, and all of that fun stuff. I've already changed my name I've already gone through recovering from one surgery. Some tells me I might not change my mind after this. Call me crazy. But I think I actually like how I identify right now, and I feel like it makes sense for me. Your mom said she thought you were tested as a child. Yeah, I got tested as a child, and that's my mom. My mom will constantly tell me, and she'll be like, "But you got tested as a child," and I'm like, "Yeah, but we probably have had testing get so much more advanced for autism than back in the late 90s that I feel like it's unfair to use I got tested at that age as a reason for why I can't have it looking back now." And that's like another thing that I sort of have to try to have other people understand. Autism is definitely is another one that's harder to get diagnosed. Yeah, I think there's just a lot of those, which is sad that a lot of AFAB people are stuck in this situation for wanting to finally feel like they might be able to find something that makes sense about them, only to maybe be denied it because of how they were born. Because the numbers say on average. And it's a shame. Because again, we all want that understanding. I feel like a lot of diagnosis. Yeah. I obviously can't speak for all of those, but I do know of quite a few are harder to get. I think, it's obviously a mix in between, because I'm sure if I were to look, there could probably be diagnoses that are harder for me to get. I don't really necessarily... I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I think it all falls into that same sort of wanting to understand ourselves and see ourselves. Your understanding of the hormones are way too complex, and it's mostly based off... I think I've heard that before, and now that you've said that, I think I've heard that similar thing. And let me tell you, my hormones, now that I do estrogen injections weekly, yeah, it's definitely a complex thing. My struggle to understand my body lately has gotten so, like, upsetting. Because, for instance, like, I had a really emotional day a couple weeks ago. Or, no, at this point it was like 2 weeks ago. Was it the estrogen? Was it just an emotional day? I don't have that answer. I can take a guess and say, yeah, maybe. Anybody who watched me, started to ask questions as if I was a assigned female at birth person. You have PPD, and usually that's seen as one AFAB people have. You don't see a lot of... I could see that as like a common thing there. And I think a lot of the thing also is that a lot of those studies that we see for those like diagnoses are used in like younger individuals, when things like hyperactiveness are a lot more common to be. Alright, we are making our way through this universe pretty well right now. I have no idea how hard the boss is gonna be. I don't expect myself to beat the boss, but we can certainly try. Alright, let's go... Wow, I lost a 25% chance. That's gonna be rough here, especially with the team that I have. Ooh, oh, I did no damage there. That is not good. Yeah, I'm gonna be here a little bit. I do no damage to this person. Oh my god. It's okay. I think I can get through this okay. I'll get through it. We'll figure it out. God. I guess we go for that, hit that. I don't have any means to like... I guess I can use the heal here to not take any damage. That's fine. Shield up. Good. Once they're done attacking here. Alright, pop that. Excellent. I think one of my favorite things that I've been able to do over with It Gets Better has... I think if you were here for Trans Day of Visibility and I was able to have that conversation with people with Riot, I think that was just one of those moments for me that really cemented I'm doing something really cool here. You know, I was able to have a conversation and do it with people that I probably would have not interacted with in the past because of our circles, you know. They work in the game industry, and it's nice, and I'm just the person who plays the games. But it's so good to have those conversations. I remember after that conversation ended, all of us sat in a call afterwards, and we all collectively just kind of sat there and was like, we needed this. We needed that feeling that we all relate and we have these shared experiences that bring us all together. And I think that's the kind of stuff that just makes it a little bit more worth it for me. Because I know that I've been able to have those conversations that impact more than just me. That's the kind of stuff that I will probably hold near and dear, regardless of whatever goes here. I mean, hell, I also literally got to model clothes for American Eagle through It Gets Better. How, like, I know I'm not a model, but now I can say I am, technically. Which is something I never thought I would be able to say. I modeled clothes for a brand. Like, that is so heckin' wild. Yeah, like, the fact that I remember when it went live, I was on a plane, and I got text from my sister-in-law because she was browsing Instagram, and she saw my picture on Instagram through American Eagle. Yeah, it was such a great experience, and also just it really made me also realize that a lot more, like, I can safely say I was not super familiar with It Gets Better when I first got introduced to it. And working with It Gets Better has helped me realize just how long they've been around, but also just show me how involved they've been with other brands and all of the things that they've done. I have learned more about, you know, It Gets Better and how long they've been around for just because of this. Totally off topic, but in Canada, 22nd, May 22nd is a holiday, and your company is giving you 19th off just to be nice. That's super sweet, Kaylin. I know, obviously, at times, it's hard to, you know, work and with burnout and stuff like that. So I'm glad that they're giving you that as like a little, hey, we know, enjoy a little bit of a break. I think I'm getting through this battle pretty okay, despite me doing no damage here. Natasha comes next. Let's just do that. I'm still upset I lost a 25% chance of getting the extra materials here. Do they attack? Alright, they're gonna attack it a couple of turns. Let's save. Let's just shield up, and I want to make sure I'm saving my ability here. Now I'll go for it. This is your first year here. Yeah, because you got this job recently. I remember now, Kaylin. That's another thing that streaming itself has allowed me to do, is I've just felt more like comfortable with myself in like any sort of professional environment. I know that I don't work for any traditional job right now, but I remember when I started working in retail, I was so anxious over something like correcting my pronouns. I worked with a lot of, my retail store was a Kohl's. And so, if you know anything about Kohl's, it's a store where not necessarily people our age work, or not work, but shop at, and more people who are middle-aged women or older shop at. And so I almost was like nervous for a while to correct people on my pronouns. Even my name tag, I had my pronouns on there, but people wouldn't read that. Whether it was on purpose or not, people weren't reading that. And so I know for a fact that I was almost like so reserved. I held in a lot of, I don't know, let's say I work 20 hours a week, and in that 20-hour work week, I probably would get misgendered 30 times a week. There's a reason I don't ever want to go back there. The staff was good. The staff was not a problem. What was the problem was all the customers. The staff was very supportive. But I think now, when the time comes that I do look to work in the, I want to stay in the industry, no matter what I do. And It Gets Better has shown me that not only can I stay in the industry, but I could also work as an advocate for queer rights while also being in the industry. So that in itself is also another feeling for me of I'm now like more confident in myself to be like, hey, this is me. Take it or leave it. iOS shop, you have the option to put pronouns on your name tag, which is really great. But you didn't put yours because you didn't want to add yourself or misgender. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where, you know, you want to know one of the most common things that I would get, which was ridiculous. It'd be the 60-year-old grandma hunched over and being like, oh, Chloe, that's a unique name for a guy. And I'd be like, ma'am, I'm a woman. And then they just stare at me, not say a word, and go about their day. Yeah. I was like, I am so tired of people like, you can read a name tag, so then read the pin that's next to the name tag that has my pronouns. Like, you got halfway through it, so either you're not doing the second half, or you're choosing to not acknowledge the other part. Very much appreciate the cis co-workers who put their pronouns though. I didn't think I had many cis co-workers who put their pronouns there, which is a shame. It's been really nice having the ability to also impact other people's like shows as a creator. For instance, one of my friends is a cis Arab man, but I've been able to have him put pronouns in for all of his shows, make sure like I have made it so that I've helped people understand that, you know, this is more than just for me, but it's a beneficial thing to have your pronouns because it's also helping protect individuals like myself. The game just told me that the enemy was gonna go berserk because I wasn't taking them out fast enough. I wasn't doing enough damage. Oops. Let's try to do that a little bit quicker this time. You feel like with the public, we should be a requirement, but then customers will be better behaved if you haven't served the public. You have no idea. Yeah! I mean, I remember before I even came out, I was working as a busser at a restaurant on the boardwalk, and my pay was $2.75 an hour plus tip. Isn't that hilariously sad? I worked an 8-hour shift one time and I made $20. And that was legal. Cali? No, New Jersey. Oh, I wish I was California. As soon as I get bottom surgery, I'm moving out to West Coast. That's the next goal. Yeah, Kaylin, it's coming to PlayStation. If you go onto Honkai's website, it says coming soon there. We broken? It is a big goal of mine. It's bad. It is good out there, though. That's the reality. California, Oregon, Washington are significantly better than a lot of the East Coast places. New Jersey, which is where I live, I am fortunate that they recently just passed a law protecting trans healthcare, but out of the states that protect trans healthcare, California, soon to be Washington, Minnesota, Like, it's all West Coast out there. So as a trans woman, it's definitely better for me if I'm out on the West Coast more. You don't have a PC right now? So, yeah, if I remember correctly, you have a laptop, Kaylin. I gotta get these little ones out of the way because they're all doing so much damage. Yeah, exactly. Like, to say what you, like, I understand where you're coming from, but I need to look at it as, one, I'm a content creator. I want to be where not only do I have friends, but also I want to be near where a lot of the industry is, and a lot of the industry is West Coast. So being over there is like an important aspect there. You got an old MacBook, you're hoping to upgrade to a PC in the future. So, if we want to go like full-on experience of me 7 years ago when I started streaming, I streamed on a laptop. I forget what even the brand of laptop was. It was a gaming laptop, but I did stream on a laptop. So, I do understand the struggles of trying to play games. It's actually hilarious because I can think back to those times, and to put it in perspective, I can remember I would get 10 or 20 FPS on certain games because my laptop could not stream well enough to handle everything that I wanted it to do. It wasn't pretty, but I tried it, and I would do my best on making it work. Such is the reality of me starting out in my content career. But hey, never would I have imagined I'd be where I'm at. Not even just like as a Twitch partner, but also doing, again, everything here. Like, I know for a fact, this is a pretty common sentiment amongst individuals who create content, that you don't expect a lot of these things to happen, where you don't expect to grow into a bigger creator, you don't expect to, you don't want to assume you're gonna get partner. I went into it not thinking anything, but also, I think a lot of us are also cautious to apply for things because we're afraid of that rejection, which is totally a valid thing. I mean, Sulky can vouch. When I initially applied for It Gets Better, I applied as a partner because I just didn't think I would be able to become an ambassador. And I remember the conversation because Sulky literally goes, "So why did you apply for a partner and not an ambassador?" And I was like, I literally just went, because I didn't think that would be something that would get offered to me. I didn't have the confidence in myself. Nowadays, I'm all for it. I'm like, yeah, I have the confidence in myself, and the only way that we're gonna be able to know if we are able to do it is if we continue putting ourselves out there to try these things. You know, I have applied for a lot of different things. A lot of them I haven't heard back from. And that is a huge reality of like the content space. But that also doesn't mean that it's by any means a negative on me or what I'm doing, or it should stop me from wanting to continue to apply for something. You'd rather somebody else say no to you than say no to yourself at this point. That is the mentality. That is such a good, like, thought process to have, Sulky. And that is a perfect way to describe it. Like, exactly that. You'd rather be told no than wonder what if. And that's, like, exactly it right now. I would rather hear the no than regret not getting that answer. Because the only way we're gonna know what we are able to do as creators is by putting ourselves out there. And I know it's not easy, trust me, but it's why I, you know, I'll say, in a sense, I am almost, you know, I'm living proof of put yourself out there more with trying these things, because something like It Gets Better, where you don't think you might be able to apply here, give yourself a shot, because you won't know until you've at least attempted it. And it's cliche, but I always think that things are cliche for a reason. And so, you know, you got, if something is cliche and somebody says it, probably give it at least a little bit of thought. I think it's good to try stuff. You applied for an Oxford scholarship a few years ago, which you didn't get, but at least you tried. Exactly! You put yourself out there. I think, you know, on the topic of scholarships, I think I remember hearing that something like $20,000 in scholarship money doesn't get used per year because people don't apply for them. Whether it's because they don't know of it or because they don't think that they are gonna win it. So they just back themselves off of attempting it in the first place. Especially in minority groups, yes. 100%. And I don't know how we can help change that dynamic, because obviously it is a shift in framing of the mind, like Kaylin said, where I think we're almost trained to assume we aren't worthy of something instead of expecting that we are good enough for the thing. And maybe it's past trauma that some of us have gone that way. Maybe it's being burned in the past. But I do think that it is something that is a common feeling of not giving yourself a shot at something. And I think a lot of us, how, like, even like I know a big esports team recently was trying to do a, like, highlight of other women creators. And I applied for it. Now, did I think that at first I was on the fence because I was like, oh, there's so many other people. But I remember my best friend. I told her I was thinking about applying. And the best thing she told me was this. If you think like that, but you applied, just imagine how many people aren't going to apply them. And you're already setting yourself up for at least a little bit more of a success because of that. And that is how I try to view that situation now. where I haven't heard from them, but the only way I'm gonna know for sure is by putting myself out there. I think we often struggle and put ourselves into these boxes of where we belong. I don't know, it's scary to put ourselves out there more. I mean, again, It Gets Better was a perfect example. I most certainly did not think that this would be when I initially applied. I didn't know what to expect. And here we are. Still to this day, so proud of everything that we've been able to do here. Also, I am about to lose this because the fight was taking too long. I could definitely win over time, but the game is like, I am impatient with you. No, thank you. So it's about to give me the boot here and kick me out of the battle, which is fine. I got to have some experience in this and see how it would be. So again, you don't know, even in games, you don't know if you're going to be able to do something until you try. I mean, I've competed in 5... No. Actually, it's not 5, because it'll be on... next Friday. It'll be my 6th time competing in a Twitch Rivals. And every time, I'm like, how did I get in here? I don't know that answer. But I am very thankful because I put myself out to at least go for it. And at one point, I was very pessimistic over other people trying to get in there. And I admit this because it's important that I didn't think I was trying to be pessimistic, but when I looked at it from other people's perspectives, it was obviously worded very poorly, and B, put into such a way that I was causing people to be upset at me over that aspect. Alright, so there it is. There's the end. All that work. We're definitely not going to get through that anytime soon. But hey, I tried it. Chat, I need to use the bathroom real quick. So I'm going to use the bathroom again. Sorry, I go to the bathroom a lot. So I'll see you all in just a moment. God, I did not realize just how much water I've already drank today. I'm probably gonna have to go to my bed and pick up some more water. Because I brought back like 3 bottles of water to start at the day. And you know, I talk a lot when I'm on stream. So all of a sudden, I'm looking and I'm like, oh, I seem to have run out of water already. Just from all of my conversing here. Which is good. I stay hydrated. But also that's a little oopsie on my end. Can I do, over here? Do I have any other scores unlocked here? Let me see here. Because now that I got to the next threshold of levels, is there more levels here that I can do? No, it caps at 3. Got it. Oh well. We gave it a whirl. I think really what I need to do is I don't have a lot of experience here. And trying to level up characters is hard when I'm not getting the material here. That's my one thing about these games, is I've never really played any of these games. I don't know how to, like, maximize my usage. And like, my energy and all that. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep playing. I'm just gonna keep trying levels out. And then eventually, something will click, right? Eventually. That's what I gotta keep telling myself, you know? At least that's a relic experience here. Your relic experience. I also don't know, like, where to get certain items other than, like, I just end up having them. Which is such a silly thing. Let's just do some World 4 runs here. Not anything too crazy with it. No, we don't take Sile yet. We'll just do that. I like doing these because it gets me materials, while I can also just, like, turn my brain off a lot of the time because they can turn into an auto-battler. So a lot of the time, if I'm playing this game off-stream and I have, like, no other, like, quests to do, it's nice to be able to just, you know, play this and feel like I'm netting materials and things like that. Going back to the conversations we were having before, I realized on the topic of, you know, like, my ADHD, I read your message, Granny Apples, but I didn't, like, acknowledge it. Yeah, there is that, like, that line of that belief in yourself and feeling like you are the same as everybody else, like, you know. And I think a lot of creators sort of feel that imposter syndrome aspect of it. When I got partnered, I described my experience of getting partnered as going from a senior in high school to a freshman in college. Because I went from feeling like I belonged and that I was doing all the right things to then looking at my peers who have made it where I am and then going like, oh, I am just down to the bottom peg again. And that was how my brain would register. And that wasn't good for me in the slightest to think like that. All it really did was negatively skew my thinking into this idea of that I don't belong. And I think, again, that's just another reason why I'm thankful for everything that I've done with It Gets Better. Because I do know, at the very least, that this has been in something where I can say that I have this sense of belonging. Not everybody can say that they've found a community. Not everybody can say that they have found a place that was outside of their own stream. Because for a lot of creators, we often almost feel isolated in the sense that it's hard to at times feel like we're more than just our stream, or that we can be a part of other groups. And it's not because of, you know, maybe people would be like, oh, do you think that's because you like streaming is seen as like this competition? No. Streaming is not like this competition. It's just feeling like you have a belonging is something that's harder to get at times. You know, this is I know that a lot of the ambassadors maybe aren't in everybody's streams, but I do know that a lot of us have furthered a connection because of this. I can look at old ambassadors who I still talk to this day, that I've run into from time to time in other circles. But it's really nice to know that I have met them prior, or we already have this similarity to connect ourselves. Because I think another thing about streaming, at least for me, is despite having this confidence, I'm still cautious. I'm still cautious over the idea that is somebody gonna be good toward me? Will I run into somebody that is transphobic? Will I run into somebody who talks behind my back? There's, you know, you shouldn't have to feel that concern, and I know a lot of people don't, but I feel like I still to this day struggle with that feeling of 100% certainty when I go into a group that they are somebody who is going to, you know, fit the same sort of vibes that I'm trying to go for. Whenever I used to compete in Fall Guys tournaments, I was so particular over my teammates, because I wanted to make sure that we all got along and we all had this, you know, sense of together, and the vibes were gonna be good, we were all gonna have fun. These were like all the things that I looked for when I would make teams. So I would never just play with, you know, just anybody, because I wanted to make sure that when I ended the event, it wasn't gonna be, oh, I regret playing in it, or oh, I wish I could have played with somebody else. And, you know, it's been hard. I've had some events in the past where I assumed the event would go well, or it would be, you know, better as a group than the group dynamic ended up being. But at the same time, I think it's something that I'm trying to push myself more to do. I don't like saying no as a creator. Because I remember really early on, I developed this mentality of, if I say no, I don't know if that's going to be the last time this opportunity is offered to me. And that's a very, like, rough headspace to put yourself into, you know? To pretty much tell yourself that you have to say yes to these things, and if you don't, you might not have another shot at it. That is not good for the brain in the slightest. But it is a, you know, a common fear. Not only amongst me, but just other creators. I do feel like it gets better. I don't feel that at all. I've definitely seen plenty of opportunities come, and I don't think that there are any qualms toward me if I say or I don't sign up for something. They obviously want us to be involved, and I do make sure that I'm involved. I always get so insecure with myself because I always feel like I'm not doing enough while having my ambassadorship, in terms of that feeling that I should be involved in other people's content more, or do more events, and all of those, you know, headspaces that I put myself in. But I think that's also just the idea that again, I don't want to say no to everything that is being offered to me or presented on the table. I don't want to feel like I'm losing my chances because I, you know, didn't apply for something. And I think that that's something we can all relate to in general. You know, you look at something like a traditional job, how sometimes we don't know if we would get a job if we just assume we're not going to get it, so we don't apply for it. It's pretty similar in that sense, where we gotta go in with this not negative perception of ourselves, and understand that if we don't apply or we don't say yes to something, that it's not gonna be the only opportunity, because we are worthy of getting those, you know, those events, those sponsors, those, you gotta have that feeling of deserving. And I know it's not easy. I am not gonna tell anybody that it is. I just know that it is something that have taken a lot to grow more for myself on. And I think I'm making strides. I do. And I think part of it comes from being a part of something good like this. It makes me feel like I am not going to be ridiculed or questioned why I didn't do more. We all have a limited amount of spoons that we can give. And for some people, there's more than others. And that's totally okay to be in either of those situations. I think it's for me just that individual mental hurdle of wanting to take the opportunities and not wanting to say something like, oh, I don't have enough energy for this, or because, you know, maybe I have this internal battle of, is this an excuse to myself, or is this actually how I'm feeling? But I think that's also related to, like, high school. You know, I've talked about how in the past I swam in high school competitively for all 4 years, which is very silly for me before I even came out, that's how it was for me. But I remember I would get told all the time that reasons why I was feeling a certain way were just me trying to make excuses for myself. And I remember I even went back to my school, and because my sister was still there after I graduated, so occasionally I would go visit. And I remember I met the girls' swim coach again because they had transferred over there. And I remember the words that he said to me were, oh, why are you still making excuses for all of these things? Just do it. And at the time, I was like, you know, you're right. But now I'm also like, wait, no, I feel like that's a toxic masculinity thing to put myself under. You know? There's better ways of understanding yourself, and there's better ways of being able to push yourself. For me, pushing myself right now is something like how I plan out these talks, and I don't like to go in without some sort of idea, because I want these conversations to be something that I can have with you all, and it be a more focused conversation than me trying to figure out my words as I'm saying it, like I sometimes do. Was lurking while doing chores, but hello, hope the stream's going well. Hi, boo. It's going pretty well. It's good to have you. I hope that you are doing all right. It's good to hear that you're doing chores also, because to me, that sounds like you're at least feeling good enough to be, you know, out and about. I know you've been sick a little bit, so I'm glad to hear that you're feeling that. Damn, I thought I was gonna be cheeky with it. There's a certain negative effect that my game has right now. You feel great? Heck yeah, I'm glad to hear it. That's really good to hear. No, stop with the healing. Knock him down. Hook is adorable. Hook is such an adorable character in this game. I swear. Look at them. They're just a happy little camper. Such a precious beam. Okay. Everybody's got a damage boost here, which isn't good. Let's get those out of the way. You pulled Clara recently? I have yet to pull another 5-star after Sile. I've gone in the standard pulls. I've gone 70 pulls without getting a 5-star. And that's obviously the standard. I got Sile in like 60, which was fortunate. But yeah, I've definitely not been having it as lucky in the standard pulls. Okay, if I do... The problem is if I do this, I can't heal. It's fine. You got her from the guaranteed banner? Oh! Honestly, I would have rathered that than when I got Bronya. Nothing against Bronya, but I feel like getting her early doesn't help as much as getting something else, because Bronya supports. But if you don't have anything for Bronya to support, she's just kind of there. And that's like the feeling with it. You love your Bronya? I barely use her because I just don't know how to maximize her right now. That damage boost is concerning. Does that mean you're gonna play the game more? Or are you still on the fence about playing it still? You have literally zero clue how to play Star Rail, you don't understand? By all means, ask questions for me. I don't know how to build relics yet, but I think I have a general understanding at this point of like basic combat and how to play. Oh, interesting, Zaz. See, like that's something I never read about Don Heng. There's certain little quirky things that I've noticed, like, for instance, when you use Sile, if she finishes an enemy, she gets to attack again, or how Herta likes follow-up attacks because she'll also follow-up attack after that. I can't believe you'd hurt Natasha. Don't grab Natasha, that's the one that I still need. It's fine. I can afford to hold off on healing real quick. You've been using your fire main character more than the main. The fire is really good. I just prefer having damage with her than being a tank, because my tank is already just March, and I prioritize a lot of energy in the March. Okay, that'll give me Natasha back at least. Oh, I can't go for the blast here. Alright, just knock that one down. That's fine. Now I can go for the blast, though. Okay, get rid of the hands. Now we're free for this battle. That hand is still alive? Really? Look at that. Everybody's full health. Guess it's figuring out what roles certain characters are. I will say, I've definitely only figured that out through playing with them, but you can probably read. Like, when I used Bronya, when I first got her, I didn't know she was a support. And then I saw she wasn't doing a lot of damage, but she was able to speed up people's usage. And, like, I didn't value Natasha at all for a while because I was like, I have March, I don't need a tank and a healer. But now I've realized, like, the value of someone like Natasha. So yeah, let's take a look here. Characters have more designated roles. Yeah. I mean, like, right now, this is a more balanced version of the main character. But I mean, even you can see here, like, they're pretty tanky. They have a lot of HP. March, I have over 1,000 defense in right now. She also has a high crit rate, which is nice. Or crit damage. My Don Hang is awfully average. My Seele, high crit rate because that's what she likes. And high damage. Natasha, really tanky. Just does a lot of heals. My Asta also has high attack. She needs to be a little bit faster, though. That's something I don't prioritize. Really high crit chance, or crit rate on Shushang with a decent HP stat. Bronya's a support, so I've made her tankier. Haven't really messed with Kinke. My Serval has a high attack. Hurdle, I have touched the least. And then Hook has a high attack. But it's also like the relic understanding, which has also been something that I'm still trying to learn. Like, you can see all these relics are leveled up, but you have to, you know, get them to 6 to see, like, okay, this is fire damage, now it has HP and break effect. And the artifact aspect here. Can you hide the paths of the characters to show how to sort? It says their role. If I look, sort by. I see these filters. Oh yeah. So like, if I were to sort it by hunt. So I have it set for hunt, and I guess it's showing other people than just hunt? Why is it showing other people than just the hunt here? Because, like, these are my 2 ones that have the hunt. But yeah, I guess you can sort them. But you click on where it says hunt underneath the character's name. Oh, you mean right here. How it describes all this. So, preservation is your tank. Destruction is your, like, sustained damage. Hunt is strong single target damage. Your Erudition is your AoE. Harmony is your support. Abundance is your heal. And the Nihility, like, debuffs others. And I don't have a single Nihility. That's, like, one role that I'm missing. So I click that little arrow here. What is this arrow doing? Is that what you wanted me to do? Now I'm confused. It's not even switching the main character very often. You can sort them by roles? Yeah. I'm sure that, honestly, I don't even really use that as much because I just kind of have seen and was like, okay. The arrow just sorts based on their level. Oh, okay. Gotcha. And yeah, I pretty much just... So, Boo, I just kind of spam this universe, because what's nice is that you can still get rewards, like, every time you unlock one of these items. They give 30, Stellar Jade. And then, with the blessings, you can see I'm almost done here. And once you complete certain ones, you get more here. So I just kind of like hard spend a lot of time in this area. Which is totally fine. You know what I will do, though? We're gonna go for a strong relic. So... I'm gonna try to beat one boss and then go relic hunting. Yep, cover all my bases for what I might need here. Yeah, no, we'll just rock you instead. If I don't have Serval, then so be it. I wanna... Yeah, we're gonna go get an artifact here. Okay, but like, look. I need my artifacts. And the first enemy, I should have taken Serval with, but that's fine. That'll do enough damage to the first enemy anyway. I think I also heal in between battles, so we should be okay. You're kind of ignoring artifacts for Trailblaze 40. I get them at least to 6. Because they do, especially if you have percent stat ones, that's still really nice to have. So I'm not maxing them out, but I'm getting them to 6 so that I can at least see what kind of bonus stats they provide. Because it's true, I don't have a lot of 5-star relics. So if I'm using all these 4-star ones, you'll be replacing them? Yeah, but it's still going to take a while before you replace them. And if it helps you now get through certain obstacles, then I don't see a reason why, but that's just how I see it. Like, the World 60 boss that I'm in right now, I can make it all the way to her, and I can beat one phase of her. And I'm sure if I just get proper levels and relics that can more organize things, I'll have a better shot at it. Yeah, that makes sense. I also just kind of replicate whatever it is my friends are doing with this game. Because they're the ones that have more of the knowledge than I do here. But yeah, Don Hang just feels so weak for me. Probably because I haven't built him properly. Like, 427 damage there is pitiful. That hit just did, like, that basic hit just did 3,000, you know? And part of it comes from just, like, I haven't invested in Don Hang as much. Ooh, I think that's actually a new Curio for me. I chose the wrong battle here. Alright, what we're gonna do is... I want a tank for this. So the good thing about the main character is that I can easily just switch between the two. And just like that, you're now ready to be a tank. Level those up a little bit. Can I craft another one? Nah, I can't craft in here. That's fine. Alright, now I have a tank. And Sealay strikes. My main character looks powerful. That's because I didn't realize that I shouldn't maximize their relics, so all of them are level 12 relics on my main character, which definitely helps. pull the taunts here. No, you locked me out of my character. This is where I really wish that I had Serval here. Because I am not going to be doing enough damage. I gotta take out these little guys first here for sure. God, this is just a lot of damage. I'm just gonna heal up real quick. At least this blast will do AoE damage. Did you take out the right one? No, it didn't? Damn. Tragic. Alright. I can knock down the big one here. This will give Sile a reset. Boost her attack. And then rain down. Beautiful. You can tell that there's just certain characters that I know how to use more than others. But I think it's also like the interest level in some of those. Go back here. Wait, heal up. How do you get... Oh, it's the Path of Abundance, Saz. So, if you unlock the Path of Abundance, you can just use a giant AoE heal. That's what I do when I'm in the simulated universe, is I just go Path of Abundance, and... I mean, just watch that. Everybody's at full health now. And that's over 2,000 health that I... Or almost 2,000 health that I healed with on high. Yeah, it's fake Natasha, but then you stack it with Natasha. And you can get... It also can apply debuff removal. If you choose the right part for it. And then with Natasha, you can just stack that even more. So together, like, I did the World 4... No, it was the World 5 boss. I stacked Abundance and Natasha, and I didn't have a single person go down in that time because of the amount of healing that I was able to dish out between the two people. So whenever you unlock the Path of Abundance, I would say that's probably your best option to go down. Heal up again. And just like that. Yep, 2,000 health on full. Okay, that'll put you in a break. Good. I'll beat the first boss. That's all that I was trying to go for here. Was I want to at the very least just beat boss 1 so that I can get an artifact here. So I don't mind if I go down here. Okay. Does the fire take it out? No. Alright. Down goes the little one, which does bonus damage, and they now have defense reduction. I think it'll just go down here. Yeah. And I didn't even lose anybody there. Alright, now everything else is just bonus. Let's go for our rewards. Break effect. I don't know who I want break effect on. That's definitely like one of my things that I don't think I understand very well. Quantum. I don't have any imaginary damage, so I can't really use that. Percent health is nice. Percent defense, more percent health. And And now I just switch back because I don't like using that unless I need it specifically for a battle. And since I know my light cones, we're all good there. Now I will take Serval in case I run into another boss that needs that. At this point, I'm pretty much just playing for new unlocks here. Like these two here. I need both of these. When this code, enemies deal 35... While this is being, they do 35% more damage. But this will increase all of our damage. Alright, let's go for the mysterious one. So I have to do 3 battles. And after that, I will be able to have my stats fixed. But that's just... Unlocking that is now just more jades for me to pull for. Which is fabulous. Sorry, now we're getting into like the actual game talk. I know. I'm not talking about what the topic was, but look, I like talking about the game too. Let me talk about the game too. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like I don't want to repeat myself a lot, but I think the best thing to say about my experiences working with It Gets Better has just been it's allowed me to be more confident in myself as a creator, helped me find a place of belonging a little bit when it's hard to do that in this industry, and it's helped me discover a little bit of passion that I have in between things like helping be an advocate for other people, or just like my storytelling in general. I can tell you that when it comes to my family, also Zaz right here, after releasing a path, removes all character debuffs and applies 1 stack of this, which allows me to restore like the fact that I can just remove all debuffs with this right here once you get 6 abundance in 1 run. But again, that's just, you know, distraction. I think I have a lot of family who, you know, is still trying to learn when it comes to things like pronouns, or, you know, my grandmother, when I had to explain to her how non-binary is, things like that, where I know they're trying, and I'm thankful for them trying, and I think I would not be as confident in my explaining everything to them if I hadn't built up the experience through It Gets Better. I think that's been a huge boost in myself overall. Knock them both down. You know, the one example that I always can think of is I have a neighbor who worked for my cousin for a bit. And when she was working there, there was one time where my cousin was doing my hair, and she was like, I still am struggling to understand the whole, like, non-binary thing. And, you know, I was like, that's fine, I understand. It's something that, like, you know, because she was saying it like, you know, she grew up, the classic, she grew up on they being plural. And so, to be able to explain to them Well, actually, you've been using they and them already in the past. You just subconsciously haven't realized it. And then I give them the scenario of, so, you have a new neighbor that just moved in, whose name is Tony. Obviously, Tony is a unisex name. You don't know if they're, you know, they identify as a guy or a girl, because you haven't met them yet. So what are you saying? Oh yeah, my new neighbor Tony, they just moved in. Like, there's the they. You've been able to, like, subconsciously use they. You're now just trying to bring it consciously for people that you already know, which is the training aspect that some people need. And that's just like one example of, I know it's such a silly, it might be such a simple one, but I really feel like it gets better is a huge reason why I don't have people come to me feeling not intelligent from not knowing these things. Because I know that for a lot of folks, their biggest hurdle is feeling like they are going to feel down on themselves, or they're going to feel embarrassed that they don't know and so they get defensive easily. If you can come at it in a way that they are not going to become defensive, that allows for more of an understanding and a better approach. But I know it's hard to do. And I'm sure for some people, it's not an easy task to go down that path, and I totally understand. I just know that that's the best way that I've been able to grow in my education aspect of queer issues. I kind of wish I had come out at a younger age and been able to do like a gender studies course that I paid more attention to, because I took an anthropology course in college, but I will be the first to say I did not learn anything in that. It was an online class that both my cousin and my other roommate were all taking together. So we just shared doing the work. I will say, it was my first time learning about things outside of the binary of gender. I do remember that, because I learned about, like, Two-Spirit and a couple other examples that I can't think of off the top of my head of genders that are beyond the male-female binary. But I can only imagine if I were to, like, have gone back now when I was already out and been more comfortable with understanding and studying this stuff and confident in myself, how much more I could have probably absorbed at the time. Hindsight is hindsight, though. I'm gonna be right back. I'm not gonna go off camera, or I am, because I'm gonna disappear into the abyss, aka my bedroom is not made, but I need to grab water behind me. And look at that, I'm back. I have reappeared from the abyss. I know. Some of you are unaware of the illusion, and that's fine. The magical disappearing Chloe, that's me. I've ruined your immersion, but I am dehydrated. Therefore, water time. I'm not dehydrated, but I can feel my mouth getting dry because of all the talking I did. Such is the reality of being a content creator. You think my body would be more trained over the fact that I stream on average over close to 6 hours on a day? No, it's not. My body is still constantly adjusting. There's a chance that I don't make it out of this battle. We'll have to see though. Freezing everybody there is unfortunate, but I'll be able to put you in break with Asta. Break time, and then now it's just try to build up my abundance real quick. There it is. Good. Heal everybody up. And now we're back in it. Go for the taunt here. I think we'll be fine. I don't need to beat this boss here, because I already did what I wanted to come here for, which was do one artifact pull. Up, down goes our first unit. So yeah, everything else after this is just netting me value. We lost 2. Down goes our fallen soldiers. I know, tragic. It's alright though, I don't mind. I could probably still win with 2, we'll have to see though. They are both fire, so like, it shreds pretty well. Although I don't. It's gonna be close. It depends on what they do here. Okay. Yeah, I think. No, we're gonna get the break here. Alright, we're gonna survive. We make it out. Because I break. Then we speed up again. We get another hit in. And then we do it again. Oh god, no, I actually did not live. Heal. Okay, we're fine. We're still in it. Just gotta live one more round. Alright, I think we're okay. That was close, yeah. The abundance heal was huge there. Alright, but I have no qualms of if I lose here. But I'll still put the effort in. Try to get the run continuing. Revive them. Take hook. Reviver? Yeah, there's a revive thing here. You get over time. I don't remember how I got it, but it's now a permanent thing where you can just go here and you spend 80 cosmic shards to revive. So I was able to revive both of them at least. Yeah, it's very nice here. Especially for like a roguelike experience. The good thing about doing these runs for me also is getting all the ability points. So, like, it doesn't feel like you're losing by, like, actually losing, because you're making your future run stronger. And I'm sure that's, like, a common trope when it comes to the roguelike experience. But for me in this game, it feels even more apparent because I can see, like, why you would want to do as much as you can. Go for a taunt here. Okay, that's gonna... When that wakes up, it's gonna go down, so I'm not gonna worry about that unit. Unless it just goes down to fire here. It did. But that's fine, because it allowed everybody else to get their utility. Definitely good for roguelites. Not all are nice like that. Interesting. Because, like, I think I'm starting to get into the roguelike genre a little bit more. And that's why I want to try out, like, Hades at some point. Which also... very queer-centric game as far as I am aware. Or it just gets the gays excited. One of the two. Zaz can elaborate. I know how much Zaz is like Hades. I am not too familiar with the genre to know. Alright. Run through that. Another 4-hit there. I can probably make it to the boss here at the very least, especially after going for that res. I should probably pull Natasha right before I battle the boss here, because that'll probably help a little bit. We'll be fine getting through the simple battles here. But I probably, instead of getting Hook, I probably could have gone for something else down this path. I wanted to use this here because I knew I was gonna beat them, and so I could maximize, like, the value of healing right before the next battle. Let's go for occurrence. I always like going for occurrences because a couple things that I still need, I need occurrences for. Enhance random abundance. Enhance the 3-star. Okay. This is gonna be the boss battle here. So let's get Natasha. And I gotta figure out what the team I'm gonna run here is. I think it's gonna be... I think it's this. Although there's no AoE is the problem. There is with... Yeah, there's decent enough AoE, it's fine. Alright, let's run it. Alright, let's see how well we do with it. She's weak to everything that I can throw at her. Aside from Natasha, which... Natasha's value is... being able to be a good healer more than anything else here. Going for that blast there. I think if I E here, it should take it out. Yep. Which will reset your E. Yep. Excellent. And now that it's Natasha's turn, Natasha will heal you, unfreeze you. And now I can put you into break here as well. Big turn, big turn. Does that push anybody up above her? No, that's fine now. It's not the first phase of this fight that's difficult for me. It's what follows suit. Just wait until you see phase 2 of this battle. Great that the simulated universe gives multiple. I like it only because it adds a little bit more of a challenge to it. But I feel like you could probably have added that challenge after, you know, beating each of the areas once. More than, you know, the very first time you go back in there. So I do understand where you're coming from. Break that, and drop it. Like, it's crazy how healthy my team is through phase 1. This is why I prioritize Natasha here. Like, she just provides so much value. Being able to alternate how you heal your team. Okay, she's in break. Nice. Get that. I'm gonna go for the heal here. Get Seele back up. Not bad, not bad. Yep. I thought I was honestly doing more damage to her, which really is more a testament to the fact that I am mostly unleveled. Do you really need 3 levels? I think 3 is a little bit overkill, especially when I unlocked this when I was 10 levels under. I'm fine with like 2 lives, but like you can unlock this for sure when you're only level 50 if you can beat the previous world well enough. And I just don't have that experience here. I'm not gonna have as easy of a run through here. Oh, you froze her? No, she's my main shield shredder. Okay, she's back. Good. Need to heal Asta here because I won't be able to. A testament to bringing out the proper weakness element. Yeah, exactly. Like, you really need it for this battle. Alright, here's stage 2. And why phase 2 is hard. Yeah, I still only have Serval. Oh yeah, Bronya? Bronya just spams all these hits on me? Yeah, I didn't get Quantum until much later. Yeah, phase 2 just summons Bronya. Because that's phase 2 of this battle. All of a sudden, she just gets Bronya to help her out. And then she can still just do that to me. Yeah, it's insane. It's just insane. Because then she can support and have her attack twice. Look at this. It's been like 4 attacks. Like, I'm just gonna let it drop here. Because I just wanted to show you how silly this battle is. Like, it is night and day how much more difficult stage 1 was to stage 2. So that's what you have to look forward to in World 6. But, again, valuable run. I unlocked 1 new Curio. Okay. So I'm only missing 3 right now. And they're all error code ones. And yeah, look at how far I am on this trees as. Whoop. All the way down here. This is the bottom of the tree. However, y'all, you got walled by Dunny kept summoning friends, encountering you in World 3. World 3. Is that the Japard fight? Yeah, Japard. Yeah, this fight is real. The shield, I find World 3 harder than World 4. Once you get, because World 4 is Farag, and he doesn't have that, like, long-standing shield. So, I totally understand. I think once you get past World 3, you'll probably have an easier time on World 4. However, y'all, just like that, we have not enough time left to really do much. It's been a very fulfilling year and a half. I truly am grateful that I've been able to do all the storytelling that I have been. I am very happy to have done everything here, and I hope that if there's somebody out there who is on the fence about, you know, maybe working with It Gets Better, maybe doing your own charity stream, it's the first time that I have developed like almost like an emotional attachment to a charity, because it really does feel like I belong, you know? It's helped me learn a lot about myself. Who knows what the future holds here? Maybe this won't be the last time you see me on here. I hope not. But that's obviously not for us to say. You know, it's funny. The first time my 6-month contract ended, I cried when it ended. I'm doing better this time. No tears. But it's a sentimental vibe. However, I think that's the wrap here, because I am thrilled for everything that we've been able to do together. I am so happy that we've been able to develop this brand here. Again, I saw it from when it started to 0 followers to 4,500 just on Twitch. If you enjoyed me, my name is Baeginning. My pronouns are she, her. Be sure to follow me on everything. But most of all, make sure you follow It Gets Better if you're new here. They're doing a lot of great things. And I look forward to seeing what the future holds with them. Now, every time I wrap up It Gets Better, I always rate another ambassador, past or future. And since I've been getting more into the Hoyoverse lately, why not rate somebody who's playing Genshin and then do some Star Rail after? So, I'm gonna go send you over to Coconata. Go wish them I think they are a current It Gets Better ambassador. So a very lovely person to support. And thank you all. Go say hi. Maybe you'll find a new streamer that you like. And most of all, be sure to continue